Welcome back. This video is about timelines in universe. So, what are timelines made for? Timelines are made to control a show specific time. So, how do we get our first timeline? Go on project and add timeline. Here we have it. This is our timeline. Here we have our scale. And now we can take a button, press with the right mouse button, drag it, drop it, and here we have our button. We can set it freely on the timeline. The scale is in tenth of seconds. So why is it only in tenths of seconds? It's for universe purposes, it's perfect, it's enough. If you want to have a more detailed scale, like with frames or hundreds of seconds, that would be too much for the program, for the properties. So if you want to have a more detailed scale, I recommend you to use a media server. So what's happening now if I press play? As you see, the button is fired, our show works. Now we have different tracks here. We can set our buttons wherever we like. We can produce as much tracks as we want to. And we have several cues here. We have a play cue, we have a pause cue, we have a stop cue, and we have a reverse cue. What's happening with the reverse cue? I'll show you here. And the video goes backwards, or the show goes backwards. What else do I have? I have a wait cue. Here I can edit the cues in the properties. Let's say wait for 1 second. And there you see it waits, and then the show goes on. I have a jump cue, which is pretty interesting because now, if I touch this, the show went back to a specific moment I can define. Like, let's say, jump to position 2 seconds. Let's see. And this goes for 3 times. And now on the 3rd time, the show is going on. I can also set this cue to infinity. What is happening now? As you can see here, the jump is repeated to infinity. So here we have our time code. Each timeline has an own time code. I can add as much timelines as I'd like to. Right here, can delete them. And now, if I want to have other time code, like from a device or a media server, I go on the timeline, go to timecode source, switch from intern to extern. Here's my Pandora's box already chosen. And as you can see here, this is my Pandora's box. And if I change the timeline right here, you can see it changes in universe. So if I go in the show mode, I don't have my timeline right here. If I go back, I have an option to see this. I can drag the timeline to my stage right here. And now I have in the show mode at least a control about play, pause, stop. I can't edit the timeline right here, but I can say play and it plays. So now I can even add a button to it. Not like that. I have to take a universe as the device, go on timeline. So now it's directly connected. And I want to say it make the timeline play. For example, I have a lot of options here, which we come to later to a specific one. Here you see it starts the timeline. So I have one really interesting function right here, which is ignore next queue. With this, I can stop infinity loops like within a specific moment. Okay, so I still have my Pandora's box timecode here, which I need to change. Go on intern. Now I can use queues again. One important thing is that if you use the extern timecode from Pandora's box, for example, you can't use the queues because the timeline is now controlled by the media server. And you can't use any queues with this. So now let's set it to intern again, that I can use queues. Let's imagine I have my button here, which says ignore next queue. And I want an infinity loop, which I have right here. Position. So this is an infinity loop in a show, and we want to make it stop in a specific moment. Like I want to control when it stops. I gave this button the function ignore next queue. So when I push it now, the show goes on, ignoring the repeat queue. I can also trigger this button and give it any additional functions, so it's very flexible. So that was the video to the point timelines in Universe. Thank you very much for watching. I'm looking forward to see you in the next videos and have a lot of fun using Universe.